Alright guys, and greetings from Thailand, which is absolutely epic. I'm at the point where I need to move here. Alright, so what are we dealing with? Well, look. This gap hasn't filled, and this gap hasn't filled, right? What's gonna happen next week? Well, this is what I think. I think you need to keep an eye on the daily MACD. If it crosses to the upside, we're going to all-time highs. Okay? Simple as that. However, the bears have a chance on Monday morning to bring this bloated pig down. Where to? Here, but most likely for a gap fill. Now, if this dumps, it will dump fast. Reason being, we gapped up and achieved nothing on Friday. Premium kill has kind of been the name here. Obviously called that nice move right there. But as you can see, during IB sessions, you've gotten the biggest moves here, right? As far as premium, I'll be trading the first hour and a half, 2 hours, and then getting out. So back to the plan. Monday we have a early low. This means if this gaps up, this will probably grind. If this starts gapping down, you run the risk of this really falling out of the sky, which I wouldn't be opposed to, because I would like to buy a dip this week. Reason being the full moon, and going back a few weeks, I did have a top around the 12th or the 13th before a sizable pullback, before we go into putting in all-time highs. And once we go into starting to put in all-time highs, usually it's a grind up and we put in anywhere between 10 to 20 new all-time highs until it finally gives out. So Monday morning is going to be crucial to see if this starts falling, and if it starts falling here, you're gonna have an island up here. Obviously if this gaps down, you know to wait for probably around here, this area. Okay, this is where all the consolidation is. This would be this has been a kind of a wacky pattern, but I would think we go all the way down there. But if it doesn't, something else is going on, and we're very likely to grind to all-time high. The MACD kind of looks like it, not gonna lie, but you're in full buy the dip mode. And how I will approach it, especially while traveling, is I'll pick a strike close to the money early on in the week for Friday and start loading every dip and selling every rip. That worked really good last week. And also trading those SPX contracts for the first hour. Okay, so that's just my tactic this week. I still think there's a good chance that we go and put in an all-time high. We have the Apple event on Monday, we have CPI, we have Trump doing his trade war stuff and all of that. Okay, and the messaging from Japan and China has been pretty decent. I would almost look to BTC here to guide us, and it's doing exactly that. I mean MSTR, obviously you know that. But let's take a look here a little bit at the broader picture here. So we call this cup pullback handle. This handle, usually they'll go twice the size, so this could still have some room here. So if we start absolutely ripping on Monday, chances are come Tuesday that CPI brings us back to earth. And if we dip on Monday, chances are that the CPI that comes out on Wednesday sends us. Okay, now that CPI is projected to come in a little hot, but PCE was cool, or okay rather, and the president has declared that inflation is dead. NFP also was nice to the market. So Monday we have consumer inflation expectations. I'll probably be around for that, but then check out, because I'm going down south here in Thailand. Bangkok's been absolutely awesome. Tuesday doesn't look like a lot going on. Wednesday, obviously the big one. Thursday, PPI gonna move the market. And Friday, Michigan consumer sentiment. Interesting with everything going on. Okay, also a full moon, and I'm digging the idea of a full moon pump. As far as the dollar, that is a fucking bear flag if I've ever seen one. So again, all about the bang for your buck, right? This is ridiculous to comment on this, as the original plan was to get this down to 2.8 by refinancing. That ain't happening, boys and gals. Okay, as far as the volatility, we're in full VIX drainage. Okay, and I would believe that this settles into this range before you're gonna see and this is the point I wanted to get across. Look, at this point in time, you survived in this game this long enough, so you probably take this to heart when I say it, so take it to heart. You're probably looking at a 10% correction here at some point before this market then goes to like 700 later this year. Okay, why? It's been very refreshing to be out of the United States for a little bit, even though we're talking very few days, in the sense that when I log on to Twitter, I'm just like, yuck. All the arguing, all the engineered drama, all of the crisis here. You need to care about this. You need to care about some fucking Epstein files. You need to care about the FBI director. You need to care about this podcast and that. It's all absolute bullshit to just keep people consuming, and it's conscious harvesting. I mean, you know that. So that's why I'm trying to limit also my trading just to the price action of the first hour, okay, and get out. Now, banks, look at this chart. That's a month of consolidation. That tells you a big move is brewing. If the first move is down, you gotta buy it with two hands. Whenever there's a huge drop, it'll spring. If this goes up here, that means maybe in a month or so, when this starts unraveling for whatever reason, you also have to buy it with two hands. There's gonna be a fake breakdown. It can be up to a literally a 10% correction. The reason I'm saying that is you can go all the way down to here and it's a buy. Okay, so don't get too married to the 5-minute chart. You can make some serious money here end of the year, in my opinion. Okay, let's check in on next week here real quickly. The DEX here is saying we're about to get a pullback, so we're aware of that. We know that. It's a buyable, the first one is a buyable dip. Okay, hold on, ding 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 ding, where are you? We're also starting to build some green. Usually when we build some green, it means that we're gonna sell here as far as the deltas, and when we start building red, it means we're ripping. So be careful, limit your trading. We're gonna go through next week's gigs here. Here's Monday. We shouldn't go under 595. Okay, 601 and 605 are your resistance points. Here's Tuesday. Looks like they're really positioned for a pullback on that CPI, which is not out of the question at all. Okay, especially if it's hot. Or Tuesday rather. Here's Wednesday. Whew. Maybe this does unravel this week. I'm still a fan of a pump into the full moon into OPEX and let OPEX take care of it. But we'll see. All right. And then let's check some individual names. Big event for Apple on Monday. A lot of updates supposedly being published. And this thing hasn't partaken in the rally at all here. I mean, look, there's the April low. This thing will benefit from if Xi and Trump start being buddies and trading Tamagotchis and all of that. This thing is gonna explode. It's Apple after all, and it's gonna do what Meta has done. I mean, we called this Meta move when it was, you know, literally down here. And Meta's been good to us. Nvidia getting up there, close to all-time highs as well. I want you to draw attention to these contracting Bollinger Bands here. Abgo down on earnings. LMT saying there's going to be some action here. But really, honestly, guys, I think that MSTR has been so shit, and you could almost see this as a falling wedge, with this being the breakout and this being the back test. I would not be surprised if this absolutely rips faces. Okay, so worth having some MSTR. As far as Tesla, I guess Elon shouldn't have started to fuck around over there. I don't know exactly, nor do I care if this is, you know, 8D chess or not. But I know that the robo-taxi is gonna be huge, and the whole thing just seems so ridiculous that I'm sure it's some type of pulling the strings type of situation. But some fat accusations, but I can't deny that Daily Stowe is calling my name. Okay, so with that, I hope you have a wonderful time. I'll see you on the moon train. If you haven't visited Thailand, make it a point to come. Okay, God bless everyone. Love you all.